Hey everybody, I'm just wanting to talk to you about your daily duties and your schedule and kind of how that layout will look. So I'm going to show you my screen and just kind of talk about that here. So a full day trip, the customers are going to arrive at 10 o'clock and they're going to get off the river with you around 3:30 or 4. So at low water, you're looking at like late August. It's going to be a long day because the water is moving slower. We would want you to arrive at 8 so that you could pack a lunch, drink coffee, get your boat ready, get it down to the to drop it down at the put in. And then at high water, you're looking at about 8 hours. It's a little faster, more like 8 to 4. Depends on your cleanup and how big the trips are. We do want you to get there at 8. If there is no 7:15 a.m. shuttle, sometimes there's 4 of you that are all going to run down and bring the vans down to set your shuttles. This is how you will get back to the raft shop at the end of your trip. You'll be expected for a full day trip to make lunches. They should take you about 30 minutes. You prepare your boat, drop it, another 30 minutes. Please don't put your boat down there before 9. It's a long time for a boat to be sitting by itself at the put-in without anybody looking after it. You should be ready for your trip by 9:10 so that you can chat it up with your coworkers. People arrive right around 9:30. That'll give you about 15 minutes to eat a little bit more breakfast, run to the bathroom, make sure that you feel presentable and good for your day. You'll fit people into their gear after you greet them at their car. You're going to tell them what to bring for the trip and what to wear. They need to know. They've probably never been down the river before and don't assume otherwise. You will have some people that have been down a ton or they're return customers, but for the most part, I would assume that they've never been on a river trip before. After you get them all fitted and they feel good and they're ready to go, you're going to give them a safety talk and you'll get training on that with our staff. You're going to walk down to the water. And we want you to plan to launch at 10 o'clock. So the customers, they get there at 9:30 for their 10 o'clock departure. So your customers are always arriving about a half hour before their trip departure. After your trip, you're going to get back to the shop and give people some photo cards. We want them to purchase photos from Photo Mike as they went through tumbleweed. And you're going to run some post-trip shuttles if needed to help out other staff. You are getting paid for those shuttles, so just keep that in mind. The timing would be dependent on the urgency if you needed to go grab a coworker off the river. Make sure your boats are burped. This means that we don't want them totally full of air at the end of the day for all kinds of safety reasons and to, keep the boats from exploding and tearing due to air pressure. Place them in the raft shop out of the sun, and they need to be in the shade overnight and locked away. You're going to place used gear on the blue tarps at the shop for washing. You're going to gather all your items, drink coolers out of the van. You're going to place freezer packs in the freezer after you rinse them off. And you're going to look for cans, empty water bottles in the vans from people drinking soft drinks. You'll check the van for gas level, and you can certainly go fill them up with gas. You're going to put the cooler in the shade so that you can get any meat or cheese in the fridge as soon as possible back in the fridge. You might want to start laundry. There could be towels and just washcloths from cleanup, and we just chuck them in there and you can start them whenever it looks like it's ready to go. You'll put boats away, take the frames off. You'll put life jackets away and any other washed gear, especially shoes, those little booties that we'll provide for customers. And then post-trip activities usually take an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on your trip and your shuttle. I would say you're usually finished by 4 or 4:30. You're welcome to help other trips when they get back, because it comes back around. And if you're helping others, of course, they will help you. Half days are a little bit less. Mostly they just don't involve food. And so it cuts down on things quite a bit. On a low water, this would be like August, you're looking at about 7 hours. High water, you're looking at about 6 hours. Our half day trips, for a 9 o'clock trip, you would want to arrive at 7, depending on the shuttle. And for a 1 o'clock afternoon trip, you're going to want to arrive at 11:15 or earlier, depending on shuttles and your personal preference. It takes 30 minutes or more to get those boats ready and dropped. A larger boat trip might tend to take a little bit more time. You're going to want somebody to help you lift those boats. We would never want you to do that alone. Don't set the boats before 8 or before noon. Again, people are going to show up 30 minutes before launch. You're going to be greeting them and talking to them. So if your customer trip is a 9 a.m., they're going to arrive at 8:30. If it's a 1 o'clock trip, they're going to arrive at 12:30. Call your people if they're more than 15 minutes late. You have access to that, and I'll show you that in another recording. Greet them at their cars, walk up, find out who they are, make sure that their name is on our books and that they're not with Montana River Guides. Sometimes there's some confusion because of the proximity. They are located down by Sear parking area. And there has been occasion where we have, small moments of mix up. So just making sure that they're your people. You're going to give them a safety talk again. You would walk to the put-in with them and launch on time, either at 9 o'clock or at 1 o'clock. With a half-day trip, there's some post-trip duties, such as, again, passing out those photo cards. That's a way for them to review you as well. As a guide, you get an extra $5 for every review you get, whether it's TripAdvisor, Yelp, Google, or Facebook. And those certainly add up every day. Make sure those boats are burped, get everything out of the vans, freezer packs go in the freezer, used gear on the tarp, wash them. You're going to let them dry for about an hour. And there are those of us around the shop that are happy to help put them away after that hour is done. If you need to run, just know that we would want you to repay the courtesy. Those scenic trips are a lot less. At low water in August, you're looking at 5.5 hours, and at high water, it's a quick 4.5 hour trip. Are you welcome to do more than one trip a day? Absolutely. You could do a 9 a.m. trip and turn around and do a 1 o'clock trip. If you were the type of person that does want to work a lot, sometimes people are calling us throughout the day, and we add on a 4 o'clock trip in the afternoon for people who are driving through and just want to hit us up on their way into Missoula. That is your day. So any questions, you can always review this video.